Imagine a place where silence is deafening, a place where the only sounds you hear are the echoes of your own footsteps and the distant clanging of metal doors. This is not a scene from a horror movie, but a daily reality for many. Picture a world confined to concrete walls and steel bars, a world where freedom is a distant memory, and every day is a struggle to maintain a sense of self. This is the life of inmates in a Supermax prison. This is not a scene from a dystopian novel. This is the stark reality of a Supermax prison, the most secure type of penitentiary in the world. These facilities are designed to be escape-proof with layers of security that make it nearly impossible for inmates to break free. Built to house the worst of the worst, these institutions operate under a philosophy of total control, aiming to isolate inmates from each other and the outside world. The goal is to prevent any form of communication that could lead to further criminal activity or unrest. Supermax prisons evoke images of notorious criminals like Al Capone and El Chapo. These are individuals who have committed heinous crimes and are considered too dangerous to be housed in regular prisons. These facilities are designed to hold inmates who pose extreme threats within the traditional prison system. They are equipped with advanced security measures including surveillance cameras, motion detectors, and reinforced barriers. They are the ultimate solution for managing individuals deemed too dangerous, too disruptive, or too high profile for regular confinement. Inmates spend up to 23 hours a day in their cells, with minimal human contact. The debate surrounding Supermax prisons is as complex as the individuals they house. On one hand, there is a need to protect society from dangerous criminals. On the other hand, there are concerns about the human rights of the inmates. Proponents argue for their necessity in maintaining order and security within the larger prison system. They believe that without Supermax prisons, it would be nearly impossible to manage the most dangerous inmates. They highlight the dangers posed by high-risk inmates and the need to protect other inmates and staff. The presence of Supermax prisons, they argue, acts as a deterrent to potential troublemakers within the prison system. However, critics question the ethical and psychological implications of such extreme isolation. They point out that prolonged solitary confinement can lead to severe mental health issues, including depression, anxiety, and even psychosis. They argue that the harsh conditions of Supermax confinement can exacerbate existing mental health issues and lead to further deterioration. The lack of social interaction and mental stimulation can have devastating effects on an inmate's psyche. The debate rages on, with no easy answers in sight. As society grapples with the balance between security and humanity, the future of Supermax prisons remains uncertain. What is clear, however, is that the conversation is far from over. Supermax prisons are not your typical correctional facilities. They are fortresses of concrete and steel, designed to prevent any possibility of escape or communication with the outside world. Imagine towering walls topped with razor wire, multiple security checkpoints, and armed guards stationed throughout the facility. Within these walls, technology plays a crucial role in maintaining control. Surveillance cameras monitor every corner, motion sensors detect even the slightest movement, and sophisticated electronic systems control all aspects of the prison environment. Cells are often windowless, offering no view of the outside world. The design of these facilities prioritizes isolation above all else. Inmates are often housed in solitary confinement, spending 23 hours a day alone in their cells. Human interaction is minimal, limited to brief encounters with guards during cell checks or meal delivery. The physical environment within a Supermax prison is as sterile and controlled as the security measures themselves. Fluorescent lights remain on for most of the day, disrupting normal sleep patterns. The air is often stale, lacking the natural scents and sounds of the outside world. Every detail, from the color of the walls to the texture of the food, is carefully considered to minimize sensory stimulation and maintain order. Life inside a Supermax prison is marked by monotony and isolation. Imagine a daily routine stripped bare of any meaningful human interaction, stimulation, or purpose. Inmates spend their days confined to their cells, with limited opportunities for movement or activity. The walls of their cells become their entire world, a world devoid of color, comfort, or companionship. A typical day might begin with a breakfast tray delivered through a slot in the cell door. This mechanical process underscores the lack of human touch in their daily lives. Inmates then have a few hours for personal hygiene, reading, or writing, although access to books, writing materials, and other personal items is often restricted. These activities, while mundane to most, become precious moments of distraction and mental escape for the prisoners. Exercise time, often conducted in small individual cages, provides a brief respite from the confines of the cell. This limited physical activity is crucial for their physical health, yet it is far from sufficient to counteract the effects of prolonged isolation. However, even this activity is closely monitored and controlled, offering little opportunity for genuine physical or social interaction. The constant surveillance serves as a reminder of their perpetual confinement and lack of autonomy. Meals are delivered at scheduled intervals, again through the cell door slot. This routine is repeated 3 times a day, reinforcing the mechanical and impersonal nature of their existence. The food is often bland and monotonous, designed more for sustenance than enjoyment. The lack of variety in their diet mirrors the lack of variety in their daily lives. The lack of sensory stimulation and social interaction during mealtimes further contributes to the overall sense of isolation and deprivation. Eating alone, day after day, can erode one's sense of self and connection to the world. The evening hours offer little variation from the rest of the day. The dim lighting and silence of the night can be both a relief and a torment, as inmates are left alone with their thoughts. Inmates may have access to a limited selection of pre-approved television or radio programs, providing a rare connection to the outside world. However, these moments are fleeting and heavily regulated, but again, the content is carefully controlled to prevent any potential for disturbance or disruption. This control extends to every aspect of their lives, ensuring that even their brief moments of leisure are tightly managed. As the days blend into weeks and months, the relentless monotony and isolation take a toll on the inmate's mental health. The lack of meaningful engagement and the constant surveillance can lead to feelings of hopelessness and despair. The psychological impact of such an environment is profound. Many inmates experience anxiety, depression, and other mental health issues as a result of their prolonged isolation. The human spirit, when deprived of connection and purpose, can wither in such conditions. Despite the harsh conditions, some inmates find ways to cope. Small acts of defiance, moments of reflection, and memories of loved ones can provide a glimmer of hope in an otherwise bleak existence. These moments, though rare, are a testament to the resilience of the human spirit. Writing letters to family and friends can be a lifeline, offering a brief escape from the confines of their cells. These letters are often scrutinized by prison authorities, but they remain a vital connection to the outside world. Receiving a letter in return can be an emotional experience, reminding inmates that they are not entirely forgotten. These small connections can make a significant difference in their ability to endure the harsh realities of life in a Supermax prison. Ultimately, the monotony and isolation of Supermax prisons serve as a stark reminder of the human need for connection, purpose, and freedom. Without these, even the strongest individuals can struggle to maintain their sense of self and hope for the future. Security in a Supermax prison is not just tight, it's airtight. These facilities are designed to house the most dangerous criminals, and every measure is taken to ensure that they remain securely confined. Every aspect of the facility, from the physical layout to the daily routines, is designed to prevent escapes, violence, and any unauthorized contact with the outside world. The architecture itself is a fortress, with multiple layers of security that include high walls, razor wire, and electronic surveillance systems. Inmates are under constant surveillance, with cameras monitoring their every move. These cameras are strategically placed to cover every inch of the facility, ensuring that no blind spots exist where an inmate could potentially cause trouble or plan an escape. Even the most basic activities like showering or using the toilet are subject to observation. Privacy is a luxury that inmates in a Supermax prison do not have. This constant monitoring serves as a deterrent to any form of misconduct. Cell doors are electronically controlled, and movement within the facility is strictly limited and supervised. Inmates are often confined to their cells for up to 23 hours a day, with their movements outside the cell being closely monitored and controlled. Guards, often clad in riot gear, patrol the corridors, their presence a constant reminder of the controlled environment. These guards are trained to respond to any situation with precision and force, ensuring that order is maintained at all times. Any sign of aggression or rule breaking is met with swift and decisive action, often involving physical restraint or solitary confinement. Solitary confinement is used not just as a punishment, but as a preventive measure to isolate potentially dangerous individuals. Communication with the outside world is tightly controlled. Inmates are allowed limited contact with family and friends, and all forms of communication are closely monitored to prevent any unauthorized information from being passed on. Letters are censored, phone calls are monitored, and visits are conducted through thick glass partitions, preventing any physical contact. This ensures that inmates cannot coordinate with outside accomplices or continue their criminal activities from within the prison. These measures aim to sever ties with the outside world, further isolating inmates and minimizing the risk of them continuing criminal activities from within the prison walls. The isolation is so severe that it can have profound psychological effects on the inmates. The level of security in a Supermax prison is so extreme that it raises questions about the psychological impact on both inmates and staff. The constant vigilance and lack of human interaction can lead to severe mental health issues, including depression and anxiety. The constant state of high alert and the lack of any real human connection can take a toll on the mental well-being of everyone within these institutions. While these measures are necessary for maintaining security, they also highlight the harsh realities of life in a Supermax prison.